like to call the meeting of the Benton Harbor Downtown Development Authority to order. It's 11:54, and we have a quorum present. We need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Any support? Support. Okay. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Citizen comments, 5 minutes. Did you want to address the DDA board? Hi. Please come up to the microphone there so that the people at home can hear you as well as us.
I was a little nervous.
Can you just tell us who you are? And
Hi, my name is Lenice Davenport. I'm 26 years old. I was born and raised here in Benton Harbor. And this is my first time talking to you guys. I just wanted to share these ideas that I had that I figured would be great for the community. The acronym is called the BLIMP Initiative. BLIMP stands for Breathing Life into My People. It's basically more so like a community-funded organization where we host the events and the community comes and, buys things and all that. And we put their funding towards let's say a play cafe. It's basically a place where adults can come and bring their kids and their kids can play around in ball pits and stuff like that. Or we can invest in entertainment because everyone I've spoken to, they say there's nothing here. They're always spending their money at South Bend or going to St. Joe for the bowling alley. So the money that's meant for the people here, everybody else is taking it. So I figure maybe by sharing this with you guys, we can collaborate on ways to get the community more involved instead of just relying on their leaders to, how I say, do all the work, if you will. Thank you.
thank you. We don't have any other visitors today, so shall we move on to the memberships? Just wanted to give everyone an update that Jasmine Clausen has been appointed by the mayor, but has not yet been approved by or interviewed by the commission. So she's scheduled to come to the legislative committee meeting on the 3rd, and so we'll be getting a new member, officially getting a new member very soon. And on to the treasurer's report.
Treasury report for the DDA is as follows. Today's balance stands at $2,449.62.
Great, thank you. Committee reports. Well, we've already done that. Oops, that's strange. Something's still in there that shouldn't be. Communications?
No updates. We have not met yet.
Right. Main Streets. Well, before we move on, do you have a meeting scheduled that you want to let people know about? So, well, John and Virgil, and
retired now, so he has a more flexible schedule.
right.
I believe before 2 possibly what time that didn't work. Did we have? For you guys, did we have a meeting once? I feel like that. Then it was canceled. Was it on a Saturday? When were you guys meeting? I want to try to see.
No, we had different dates, but we can just pick a date moving forward. And I did meet briefly with Nick Gunn, I think it is. That was here last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So he's interested in joining, and I believe he was a resource that was available from the city to also help us just from a kind of graphic design standpoint. And he also has some other creative, things that we can do like photography and stuff to help develop, more assets for the website.
Okay.
Since he handles stuff on Benton Harbor's site, this could be a good kind of tie-in there, so.
Okay.
We'll also have Jasmine, who is a marketing professional.
Okay. So,
We have this issue every time. I don't know. We're not able to turn it off. It's okay. So,
it was kind of sort of a sidebar. We were just, John's going to, because I have Jasmine's email and her phone number, and then email everybody just to see scheduling wise. I know John is the only one that's technically working, 9 to 5. Nick is at school, and then Jasmine is will probably be more Zoom, if anything, if needed, with her, but just to get everybody's email and send it that way out to just see what's the availability for everyone.
so Jasmine's the headers. Email. That'll help you. That's the email that she gave us to use, and I'll be glad to give you her phone number as well, too. So I know she's looking forward to helping out any way she can, so it'll be good to have another hand at the wheel. Main Streets and Welcome Center. I didn't update that, but basically, we have gotten the internet service up and running. If you're going to be working at the Welcome Center, please let me know. I will send you the codes to get into the server the modem, so you can access the internet. At this point, we only have the one account, so there isn't a public account at this point, so it's for our use as board members, or if a vendor is there to do work for us or with us. At some point in the future, we'd like to get some grant money to pay for another service so that we can actually provide an access point for the public in that area of downtown. I don't believe the other one is up and going anymore. I haven't seen it online. The Arts District, I think that one's not working right now. But when it is, it doesn't cover that end of the street, so it'd be nice to have a number of places where people could get access to Wi-Fi if they're visiting us in town. Social district news, there really isn't any social district news as far as I know. I do know we were still waiting for some people who had started the process to finish. Mr. Little, do you know, has anything else?
No, I asked the clerk to check the liquor commission website to see if any of our others have cleared yet. That's how we've been finding out. And she said there weren't any others. I think we're going to really need to try to contact and communicate with these others to see if they are interested or not in moving forward with this. Because I think we're missing a big opportunity here to do this. And during the period right now when people are out and about, go along with have short days and be headed toward winter. And as a matter of fact, at whatever point is appropriate, I'd like to give some additional comments, kind of respond to what the young lady asked about.
Sure. That's your list if you want. Let's see, we did the Michigan Sustainable Business Forum and Indiana University were here last week. At their focus groups. People turned out yet. I do know that that they've provided the city with information that they have about updated flood maps. And when they're here in September, we'll get a copy of that as well, as I understand it. So I'm not sure where that will live, probably a thumb drive, I think, or a hard drive somewhere, so that we can use it when or if people want more information about how to protect themselves. They will be back in September to do more of this work. Ms. Fields?
They came to the farmer's market, I don't remember if it was last Wednesday. It seemed like it's been, this month has flown by. But they came and I actually introduced them to, I'm tired, you guys, sorry. Ricky Hill. So they're going to come on the show the is it this week? So they're going to come on to his radio / Facebook Live show to just talk about and promote the actual scan barcode. And we actually also went over to the senior center too, via Ricky Hill is on their board of the senior center. And he suggested, going over and I'm going to circle back in that regard to see if they did the surveys. And I'm trying to remember which day is bingo for them, because I know Plaza Manor is Friday. I believe theirs is maybe even Monday. The twins go, Arlene and Darlene go. So just to do some surveys from a variety of people, and a lot of the elderly, just from the feedback, when they were talking to people at the farmer's market, knew about roads and where businesses and different things had been before, just to have that community engagement for that survey.
Great, thanks. It's hard to, gave them a list of people to contact throughout the area, because they're looking at Berrien County, but a lot of them were Benton Harbor people. We all know more people among ourselves. We all know more people that other people don't know about. So anytime you can make a recommendation, you have all their contact information.
Yes, and
Great.
because they emailed me per you,
Yeah.
and then they will be on the Ricky Hill show Friday.
Friday.
Or Mindset Matters Radio, sorry, Ricky Hill.
Mindset Matter.
I might add that I talked with them also at length, and we are going to be communicating further. Some of the information they had has particular significance for the city in terms of a preparatory kind of thing. We talked about the 1,000-year flood, somewhat similar to what Milwaukee experienced last month. And I'm going to be digging more into that information and getting our people here involved, particularly along the lines of what kinds of adjustments and changes we can make to our building codes for people who are building in traditional areas that might be 500-year floodplain or 100-year, where they've been for years and years and years and had no problem. But the thing I recognize is that with this current climate change situation, all of that could go by the wayside. And I don't think any city can afford to just roll up its streets and say we're getting out of business in these areas because a 1,000-year flood could create a problem. But we do need to take whatever preparatory measures we can to try and prepare people, because it could happen.
And I know when the lake levels were higher, we were seeing cities like South Haven moving bridge controls to get them above the higher water levels to People worked on sewer lift stations and those things to make sure that they would be higher up. But as we do all this infrastructure work, it seems like an opportunity.
Unfortunately, most of the infrastructure work is done now, but there's still more that we can plan for in the future. Because all of it is a big question mark, but one that we have to pay attention to.
Let's see, moving on. Before we got started, I asked Mr. Little about an October date to set a date for our best practices and Q&A with downtown stakeholders. So he's going to get back to us with an evening or two dates that will work for him so that we can get it scheduled and get the word out to make sure that we can meet with some of our newer people, but also people who've been around for a while who still need information about who to call when various things come up or what the city's expectations are based on ordinances and best practices. So we want that to be a town hall event where people can ask their questions, bring their concerns, and where we'll have staff and along with Mr. Little who can answer questions or who can be contact point people when it's necessary. So as soon as we get that date, we'll start trying to push it out to people to let everybody know. Design. I noticed we are in we have another damaged light pole at Riverview where someone hit at the roundabout, hit the light pole, it's bent, and they shattered the base, which is now missing altogether. I'm wondering, it's probably something I keep bringing up, but it seems to me that a conversation with MDOT regarding actually getting that speed limit lowered to 30 from the bridge to Pawpaw Avenue would save the city tens of thousands of dollars on destroyed lighting equipment and the other damage to curbs and landscape that's been done. And when we redid Main Street with the charrette and everything else that took place, it was thought at the time that we would be seeing a lower speed limit like they have through downtown St. Joe. Even at 30 miles an hour, it can be a little hectic over there for people to cross streets. But if they're already driving at 35 or 40 miles an hour on Main Street and hit those roundabouts, we've seen the results. And now we've had over a decade of experience with this. It's really time to take on this safety issue. If possible, I think they should reimburse the city for the cost of replacing these light poles. They've contributed to their destruction by their negligence, in my view, but I'm not an expert on traffic.
We had a meeting with MDOT probably about 4 weeks ago now, and the subject was these roundabouts. They generally agreed that they will change the composition of them so that we don't have weeds growing in them like they are. As a matter of fact, we specifically asked them to set them up the way the one out here at Crystal in Maine is. So there'll be a minimal amount of growth in there and be easier to maintain. Now, in fact, last week, I think it was, went down and they were there at the roundabout down on Riverview and stopped and talked. They're taking measurements and stuff now to try and do that. I doubt seriously we could get them to contribute anything toward the lights. The state has a complicated process for speed limits and so forth. And MDOT really doesn't have control of that. The state police does. And state police will typically have these, you've seen the black rubber lines they put across the road to try to count the numbers of vehicles going and how fast they go. And typically, as a matter of fact, there was an article in the paper a couple of days ago about how the general setting of speed limits is based on how fast cars go. They typically take count of the speed that the average person on a particular street travels, and they presume that to be the most comfortable and best speed for that area, given plus or minus a few miles or whatever. But it's quite a process to getting it done. And we have brought that subject up, and we'll be bringing it up again, because we really would like to slow that traffic down as it comes through here.
Thanks. It certainly would benefit our business owners, our pedestrians, and the quality of life for people who live downtown to feel a little safer along the street. Thank you. It's up to you. Have something you'd like to update us on?
Yes, I wanted to respond or share some information around what the question the young lady raised about trying to increase business and business opportunities in our downtown for residents and so forth. About a year ago, I believe it was it DDA that had that study done, market study on available levels of spending for drugstores, for
Yes,
grocery
we have
stores
that.
and so forth. I'm thinking that we want to try and revive that and get it out to people so they can see and understand. People need to understand that this business of setting up businesses and being successful with locations has a lot to do with how many people and what kind of disposable income they have is within a certain area. The way the experts in marketing and so forth do this, they do it for the big box stores and that kind of thing. They'll come in and they'll identify a location, and then they start to research information from state sales tax and from everything else that they can find to determine within a 1 mile radius of that location how many people and what kind of income, are they homeowners, are they renters, what's the source of income and that kind of thing. And then they'll go from 1 mile, they'll go out next to maybe 2 miles or even 5 miles to again get a handle on how much disposable income is available within a certain area surrounding the site that they're looking at, to determine whether that's the place that they should put up their business. I'm sure Starbucks, when they made the decision to spend a ton of money digging across that ditch out there just before you get into Home Depot, when you come down there, I don't know if you're aware that they just put a new one there. One of the big driving factors that is continuously at play in the township is I-94. You know, everybody understands that traffic rolling up and down that highway, that they've got the the money to spend. They're spending it for gasoline, they're spending it for rooms, they're spending it for food and that kind of thing. Years ago, I had a study done for the city here to measure the potential spending impact if we had boat slips down the river here. And it was amazing the kind of money that boat owners spend to buy parts, to buy some small clothing, to buy food, and to buy gas and that kind of stuff. It was a substantial amount. But I'm saying that to say there's a science involved in the process that they're using. As a matter of fact, I probably did the first full market study, spent about $35,000 doing it back in about 85. And it was targeted toward trying to find out if we could attract a hotel down here near the riverfront across from where Old Phase is. Interestingly, everybody benefited from that study except Benton Harbor. New hotel went up over there in St. Joe on downtown. Box stores popped up out here in the township as they looked at because people were genuinely surprised how much disposable income there was in this area. And I was amazed at why they would be surprised when you had a company as big as Whirlpool here and Leco and others and hospitals and so forth. But there was a tremendous amount of development that jumped up like weeds right behind that study getting out. Everybody benefited from it except Ben Harbor. Nothing happened here. But that's the battle that we are dealing with now. Our plan, downtowns typically function slightly different than the rest of the residential area. Because here again, you not only have, you take a 5 mile radius, that's going to cover just about all of Benton Harbor, part of St. Joe Township, part of St. Joe City, and all of this new area that Harbor Shores has put in. And that has significant figures. That's how you wind up with a bunch of hotels all on one place out there, right off the highway and so forth. For us, what we're having to do, and I mean, if we look at the reality, this city has about a little over 4,000 units, of which about 600 to 700 are vacant. And about a third of those need to be torn down, and some of them perhaps could be rebuilt. But you've got approximately 9,700 residents, and very few of the residents are high wage earners. Most of the people are on fixed incomes of one type or another, and it's not large amounts of money that would attract the kind of businesses here. They're more satisfied to have people go out in the township or wherever else they are to get the things they need because they wouldn't have that continuous flow of people. Given the economic circumstances of most of our residents. Our job is going to be to get new housing constructed in this town that's desirable, that's attractive, and that's workforce housing, that people who may be working at Javis or at Well or at Whirlpool or these places, they, like many of the people down here in Imogene Hall Flats, if we can get more with that kind of economic background within the city. We don't have to run out of improve their conditions and their quality of life as much as we can. But we need new people. See, in around 1964, this town right at 20,000 people. And most of the people were working. You had all those foundries and so forth over there where the golf course is now. As a matter of fact, I heard one caught fire over in St. Joe the other week, and I remember Fritz Hoffman when he was right over here, about where the driving range is. But they, those people left, and then other people moved out, and you wound up basically with the people who, a lot of them came here from the south and so forth. That had started when people were coming here to work, and after the work wasn't here, they still continued coming because Michigan is a state like Illinois that gives a much higher benefit than what they would ever get down south. That's in Section 8 housing benefits, food stamps, all of those things. They're much higher here than they are in those. And so calling people and saying, come up and so on. But that's created the deficiency we have in terms of having the disposable income necessary to attract many of the retail and wholesale businesses that we want to try to get in the city. Now, as I said, downtown works a little different because Main Street, that's a branch of I-94, and it carries a considerable amount of traffic through here, as well as a number of other factors that impact positively downtown. But we're working on this as part of a master plan, try to get all this put together, try to get new working class people into rooms and so people that can pay the taxes, maintain their home and whatnot, and that will add to not only the city's tax base and its numbers as far as the census is concerned, purposes of getting money from the feds and the state, but it will help all the way around in terms of getting things done. And that's kind of that's what's going on. Right now, one of, I'm proud to say it, but they came and asked about using the corner out here during winter last spring. And I allowed them to use it. I'll bet they're probably one of the highest grossing businesses in downtown, right there, that wagon that sells Mark's girls. But there's a line there as long as they're out there. Yeah. But that's a perfect example of a need being met, and it's conveniently located there. And because there aren't a lot of other businesses where people can go and get sandwiches and whatnot, they're in the perfect spot for it.
Just wanted to say too, if people are interested in that marketing data, we have it, we can share it. It has been shared with Emerge, and Emerge is the Emerge Innovation Hub is a local nonprofit that develops entrepreneurs and helps them to achieve their goals in creating new businesses. It's a free program, and so people should look that up. If you're interested, I can give more information about that too. We also have the street traffic counts. So if people are looking at locations and they want to know whether or not they're going to have enough people passing by to maybe convert a few of them to customers, we do have that that's available, and that's actually on the city's website in the Best Benton Harbor Plan. So you can look at it by and see on the main streets especially, you'll see we actually do have quite a bit of traffic beyond Main Street, but on a lot of our other arterial streets. We have neighborhood commercial districts, so there are opportunities throughout the city for people to start a business if they're interested in learning more. There are people here in this building at City Hall who can help, and we're certainly open to people who connections to whomever they need to make a connection with, get their business off the ground. Just a brief update on Planning Commission. The Planning Commission found a few things that were a little off on the ordinance that weren't initially. We had help from a staff person who took a look at it as well. Some names were wrong. A couple of the boundaries needed fine tuning for some parkland and a few other things to make sure that we were in alignment with what everyone had intended to do. So that will be going back before the Planning Commission itself. There'll be a brief public hearing to talk about what those changes are, and then it'll go on to the City Commission. And all of this we hope to wrap up in September. But basically, the ordinance for most purposes is complete along with the map. There'll be just these minor changes, and that will all be on the city's website, so people can find it if they're looking for it. An update on the theater, we did make the report. We did to the state. We are expecting more money to come from the state so that we can wrap up our business with Whiteman on the expansion project. We were contacted by the building owner who's interested in working with us to sell it to us. He has had an appraisal done, but has not yet given us the appraisal. So I'm not sure where we're starting exactly. I was able to make him aware of the deficiencies that there were with the building, and that a number of them would be a substantial expense for anyone who wants to reuse that building, whether it be us or anyone else. And hopefully, maybe that will help us with negotiating a price. But we'll have all of the documentation shortly from Whiteman. They are finishing up the detailed reports that are needed to begin to look at which steps to take first and how we can accomplish getting things done. I did put in here, after a conversation with Julia Gorley Donahue, she's the former director of the Krasel Art Center, has vast experience at raising millions of dollars, is currently employed as a development officer for a university in Ohio, and has volunteered to work with us. She's putting together a scope of work. There will probably be some small fees involved, but I haven't received the proposal yet. We'll see what that looks like, and I'll bring that back to our full meeting for everyone to see when we get that information too. Halloween celebration will be on a Friday this year, which kind of adds a little bit of a complication, I think, with traffic. But we will need volunteers for monitoring the street crossings to make sure that the children will be safe coming and going. And as usual, to hand out candy at the Welcome Center. And if people are interested in donating to that cause, that would be great, because we hand out probably 1,000 pieces of candy at least every year, just to the Welcome Center. It's really a fun afternoon, and so I encourage everybody who can hear my voice to think about bringing somebody to do trick-or-treat from one place to another, and to volunteer and take part, because it's always a fun thing. Holiday Lights 2025 will be coming up, and Linda and I have discussed getting the solicitations up and going. It's time to start speaking to businesses and getting their support for adopting a light pole. As we've done in years past, that's the way that we can update our equipment when things break down. We need to replace lights. grants or to do as we have done recently, try to expand what we're doing. If people are able to make a contribution, it makes it go much better. And there are a couple of grants that are coming up, Bering Community Foundation and the St. Joe Benton Harbor Rotary. And we'll be applying for those for the Welcome Center and our projects that we're doing. So I think that's it. Any other board members' comments, questions that you'd like, announcements that you'd like to make? Mr. Little?
Cornerstone is still working with a number of businesses in the downtown area on getting this contribution process set up where the businesses could agree to make certain payments that could be used to help maintain and improve downtown. And I would expect that we'll probably be getting that before the city commission sometime in the coming month. I think that's something that can be very beneficial and useful, not only to the businesses, but also to the town. I know we've talked at times about at some point in the future, looking at whether or not there's a way we can establish a capture situation, but that's going to take some time before that would occur, and this would enable a lot of positive improvement and action to take place.
Anything else? Any announcement you'd like to make? No? All right. Well, with that, I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. And support.
Support.
All right. Motion made by Deirdre Fields, properly supported. Any comments, questions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.